So coming into Q1 2026, I really don't think anyone was expecting Apple to release maybe one of the best laptops that they've ever made, for sure, one of my favorite laptops that they've ever made. And yeah, it's a complete banger. I'm really enjoying a lot about this laptop, and in today's video, I'll talk to you guys about why I think it's like a really special device. So just a quick rundown of the device. It starts at $600, and yeah, for that price you get an A18 Pro chip, which is an iPhone chip, and also 8 GB of RAM. Overall, the hardware I would describe as excellent, especially for the price. You're not going to get anything new from Windows at the same price that remotely compares in terms of hardware. Overall, this thing, I don't miss anything coming from my MacBook Air M2. The trackpad feels slightly different because it's not using Force Touch, and the screen is slightly less color accurate, but the speakers and everything, the keyboard feels great. There's a headphone jack. Pretty much my main hardware complaints is that the webcam is a little bit crappy. It looks a little bit too sharp. Also, this USB-C port is only Gen 2, which is a bit slow. And there's also no Thunderbolt on the device. And also the battery life is not super impressive, especially if you crank the screen to maximum brightness. And also the 8 GB is fixed. You can't upgrade it to 12 or 16 GB, which I suspect, and many people are saying, it's just a consequence of the A18 Pro architecture. So yeah, overall though, the hardware is a really strong start. Thank you to CleanMyMac for sponsoring this video with devices like the MacBook Neo, where we're kind of running a little bit lower on RAM. It's really important to keep the storage as free as possible to utilize that swap memory and to keep the computer running quickly. Definitely one of the most consistent problems that I have across all my devices is that somehow I literally always have no storage left. I'll be working on something like exporting footage, downloading something or whatever, and then I was like, I just don't have enough space on my computer, and almost just like throws a massive wrench in my workflow. What I really like about CleanMyMac is that it makes it really easy for me to figure out what I don't need on my computer anymore. My favorite feature is called Space Lens. It basically just gives you a very quick visual breakdown of everything that's taking up space on your computer, so you can immediately see which folders or files are the biggest and maybe the biggest problem as well. I also use Smart Care to keep everything running smoothly without having to think about it, and Cloud Cleanup to easily find and remove bulky project files I forget that I have synced to my cloud folders. And it's really great that Cloud Cleanup all works locally, so all the scanning and stuff happens on your computer without having to send it to like some random server somewhere. So CleanMyMac helps my Mac stay well maintained, and it also prevents storage issues from just overall tanking my workflow. So thank you again to CleanMyMac for sponsoring this video. If you're interested in trying it for free for 7 days, link is down in the description below. You can also use the code JVSchultz for 20% off. As far as software, we're running Mac OS Tahoe, which is a full-fat version of Mac OS, and everything I've been using runs great. Mac OS is really efficient as far as the software optimization, so even though we're running 8 GB of RAM, I've never really felt the need to close out too many tabs or like only have one tab open at a time. Here in Firefox, I'm currently have like 8 or 9 tabs open, or maybe 10, and I haven't noticed any sort of slowdown or anything. Compared to the M1 MacBook Air, where I used it for about 2 weeks as my main laptop, I definitely noticed this device is a little bit snappier in certain regards, which is pretty cool. Even though the MacBook Air M1 is also still super serviceable, it's really cool seeing a new device also offer the same level of value as that device. I really don't see any average user having massive performance concerns with this device, especially given how optimized macOS is. Just using it as your daily computer for stuff that is not super intensive, it's going to work awesome for that. So a lot of people describe this as a Chromebook killer. It's definitely more of a superset of that, where it like encompasses Chromebook users who wouldn't normally buy a Chromebook. They'll definitely hop on this device. But I also definitely think that it works for everyone who's just like a general user who wants a good laptop for their everyday use case. Yeah, it's like a superset of that, where people outside of the Chromebook user base as well should also be using this computer if you want just a really good value option. At least personally, from the perspective of a power user, I could see people who have like really built out like MacBook Pros that are like $6,000 or $7,000 or whatever, also buying one of these and using it as like a bit of like a second Mac, where we leave like the super expensive MacBook Pro at home and we bring this if we just need to do some chill computing stuff on the go. I also see people with like really big families, say that you're like a Mormon family with like 6 kids or whatever, where like that $400 difference is like kind of a lot when you're buying a lot of laptops at once, also opting in to buy this laptop. At least personally for my use case so far, how I've been using it and the value that it's brought me is that the A18 Pro is actually really good at AV1 decoding. It's just more efficient, so we're using hardware decoding for that. And for me, I'm nowadays like mainly remote desktoping into stuff and using like Moonlight to stream my computer, my Windows computer, to my other stuff for my sentence binding, Japanese study. And yeah, for me, like the hardware decoding is kind of a big deal because I'm going to be traveling a lot to Asia here in the future, and I don't want to have like my main computer with all my like really valuable like stuff on it alongside with me, where if it were to get lost or stolen, like it would be kind of a major blow. For me, that's been like this has been like really perfect for that use case, and I've just been really happy with it. I also really love the colors that they've gone with this year. They're all really fun and really bright and vibrant and lively. It's really cool seeing Apple come back to more of like a playful state with their marketing and overall the design philosophy coming into this device. It just feels so much more fun and like it has a personality, which I really appreciate. This is such a supply chain miracle where the price of RAM is like all skyrocketing and everything, but we're able to still have an amazing laptop for $600. I really think that this is Apple at its best, where it feels like something that Steve Jobs would be actually proud of. As a freshman, like in university, I was actually using like a '09 like plastic MacBook for like a semester. I've always really loved like the entry level MacBooks, and yeah, I also used like the 12-inch MacBook as well. And I definitely am glad that they didn't call this the MacBook because it feels like something different. It feels like something new, which I think is why they called it the Neo. So yeah, that is it for this video, you guys. Let me know what you think about the MacBook Neo. Also, I have a movie coming out in theaters May 15th. The link to the trailer is also down in the description below. We'll see if I end up keeping this long term, but yeah, it's been such an interesting and cool device to use, and I'm really excited for what this means in the future of Apple and what else they could accomplish as well. So yeah. So this is footage out of my Sigma FP. This footage is 12-bit Cinema DNG RAW, 4K, and I did some light color grading, like applied some color space transforms, and then it seems to be playing back pretty smoothly. We are dropping a little bit of frames, but this is like way out of the use case for this laptop in the first place, I think. And yeah, so far it's actually handling it pretty well, and the device is like not getting hot or anything like that. I was able to render the footage in 1 minute and 10 seconds. The device feels very cool to the touch still. So I probably would not use this as my main video editing computer if I had to pick between this and like a MacBook Air. Definitely go for the MacBook Air, but in a pinch, I mean, this worked fine. Even though my color grades were not super intense, I mean, it worked.